Happy Friday. We have a treat for you today, which is a report out of the team that worked on water audit. And my guess is they're pretty tired. Be my guess, worked pretty hard. I'm going to turn it over to John.
All right, thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is John Plonsky. I'm a customer service field manager and process owner for this event. So I wanted to give you some context behind why we're here today. And that is, for 2018, there's a new value stream assessment called customer experience. It's the second time we've done this. The previous one was a few years back. So out of that core team that met and got together last month, we identified several rapid improvement events and projects Just Do It's. And the team wall for the customer experience value stream at VSA is downstairs on the second floor. And it's on the bathroom side. So from the bathrooms over to where IT is. So check out the wall. I encourage that. Part of the timing for this event is due to reorganization that happened between customer service field and conservation field. We're changing up some processes, obviously, to eliminate waste and add value to our customer touch points, our partners and key stakeholders. So we need to get started right away in terms of some of our training effort. And so we're kind of ramped up for our high bill season, irrigation season, and high bill. So with that, I'll turn it over for introductions to Billy.
Hello everyone, I'm Billy O'Brien. I'm in customer care over at the Quivus building. I just want to introduce the team. I have Derek Kent, we got James Walker, Bert Vanderlyn, Jessica Mahaffey, Christy Owen, John Plonsky, and Wale Williams. And behind me is a board of some people we'd like to thank that helped us along with this event. We'd also like to give special thanks to Gene Sherwin, Justin Pyle, and Dave Galen for helping us this week.
Hello, my name is Derek Kent. So reason for action is customers have complained about having to schedule a separate appointment and wait for an audit. The cost benefit of this level of service is not sustainable. We seek a standard and work improvement service upfront while improving operational efficiency. So the slide up here, it's kind of hard to read. The orange sticky notes are basically just some of the treasures. And so among some of these treasures are customer education, customer has to wait, many customer touch points, and customer location access.
How you guys doing? I'm James. So the team got together and we started going over some of the current processes that both sides were doing. We found out that all the processes were confusing, they're time consuming. There was many steps, and we were handing jobs off to each other. So we were spending a lot of time at one location. So then we got back together. Okay, target state between the two merging. We want to be more organized. We want to be more customer-centric. We want to streamline the process. We want to have less drive time and be more productive.
Hi, I'm Bert. So up here, what you see is what they call the fishbone. So all these orange stickies were the treasures that Derek mentioned earlier. So we took all those and tried to categorize them into like-minded groups, ones that have similar issues. So what we needed to do to take those was to create our problem statements for the next slide. So with the problem statements, what we did was we determined which ones had problem statements that were common. Other ones, some of them were actually problem statements on their own. You can see some of the orange stickies that were problem statements by themselves. So what we did is we took each one of those and came up with 5 whys as to why those were problems. Tried to determine what was in our way, getting us past that step. So then we could streamline, figure out what the issues were, and go to what they call the root cause. So once we determined the root cause, we were able to determine what the barriers were so we can get past those to streamline this issue.
Morning, everybody. I'm Jessica. What you see here is our new process flow. I have to tell you, we went through this probably 5 or 6 times and kept going back to it, kept looking at it. This was really our guide. This is where any difficulties that we had came up, just trying to get this process flow correct. And I think we landed in a pretty good spot that was a good compromise. And definitely we have some excellent things to test and to move forward with in the next 4 weeks, which will help us increase our single trip resolution and create synergy between the teams that were just reorganized together. So now they're a single team. We hope to create and develop some synergy amongst those while still delivering our customers a really good experience and actually taking some of the high customer service level that only a few customers got when we were doing just a few audits and trying to make that more broad so more people are experiencing the benefits of our expertise while maybe doing fewer with people who are where we spend more time with them. Oh, and one of the other things that came up, and that's the next slide, is that we have a ton of communications. A lot of it was in Denver Water jargon. A lot of it was unclear to the customer. We would tag the door for a constant flow, and we'd tell them what we did, but it was in something that nobody could understand. Like even me, who works at Denver Water, who's been a part of Denver Water forever, read it and said, I have no idea what this means or what you want me to do next. So we really kind of just rewrote some of those. And also toilet leaks and toilets are really one of the driving forces for high water use, for high water bills. And so even when a customer isn't home, we're going to tag the door. We thought it was important to leave them with really clear instructions on how to do a DITAB test and how to make the simple repair themselves. So we did that. And the third piece that we did, which is in the middle there, it's hard to see, is that it's just a list of resources that we already have. I'm from the communications and marketing division or section, and we have developed a lot of infographics, YouTube videos, just a ton of things that I just wanted to put in one location for our customer care representatives who are answering questions so that they can send an email to a customer and just say, hey, you might want to check these things out just to help them understand things, but also for our own internal folks who are learning, training, and being trained on these processes today.
Good morning, I'm Christy. And so to support all of our research and everything that we're proposing and going to test out, a process control board has been created within the meter shop. The intent is going to be to update that on a weekly basis so that we're able to track safety, quality, delivery, the cost, the human development pieces of it, and be able to see our success and or opportunities as they may come up. And then additionally, to support the changes that we're proposing, we've also made updates to the standard operating procedures, both within the field staff side of the organization as well as the customer care side. So what you see up here are 4 different processes. We have check for constant flow, and there's 2 different versions up here. One is for our field employees, one for our call center staff. On the field employee side, what we're going to hopefully encourage our field staff to do is try to make contact with a customer on a more frequent basis so that in that process they're able to help a customer so the customer doesn't have to call us back again to complete a water audit. And then from our call center side, we're going to empower our call center staff to know our field staff are going to be touching base. Let's set that expectation with the customer beforehand so that they know what to expect and hopefully might be able to be home to have those conversations so we're not duplicating efforts. Additionally, you'll see our high bill operating procedure, which is for the call center. We are going to encourage the call center to ask maybe a few additional questions or maybe modifying a couple questions with the intent that they hopefully will be able to help out our customers more on the phone or over the phone, excuse me, and not need to roll a truck to address the issue. And finally, we have the water audit process for our field staff. This is, I think the team would agree, one of our biggest changes as a result of our week together is that our analogy that we used is the analogy of you can catch a fish for a man or you can teach a man to fish. And thus far, we've been going to a customer's home and we will go through an audit and we will walk them we will check every single zone in their irrigation system, and we'll try to do everything for them. And we're hoping to change the process so that we can show the customer how to check these things themselves. And maybe we'll walk you through 3 zones, and then we'll encourage you to do the rest yourself, so that maybe that will help support you and your abilities to become more efficient.
Okay, so for the event this week, we did utilize a lot of data for our decision making. These are the metrics for our event metrics. We had several takeaways. So first thing is the single trip resolution success rate. So when we have the ability to get in front of the customer with the water audit process, the way we've been doing it, it's always been a follow-up activity. So we've always been sort of doing rework in a way. So we want to try to eliminate that. So we're trying to go from 0% to about a target of 80%. We know that we may not have access or ability to get in front of the customer 100% of the time. So that's why we have the 80%, but we do think we can exceed that target in 3 months time frame. The next metric is we want to reduce our average cycle time, and that's actually the processing time of the water audit. That's obviously going to change as we've changed the process. So we've slimmed down the process. This is going to slim down the cycle time as a result. We also want to reduce the number of water audits per month. Again, this is going to come down because we've ramped up or going to make our check for constant flow process more efficient. So the two hand in hand will lead to this improvement. And then finally, we recognize that we have a skill set by James and Wale, who've been doing water audits for the last several years. We need to have their expertise and knowledge transferred over to some of the other, to the field service folks and flex techs that we have in CSF. And that's going to take some time. It's not going to be easy. We split out the 2 lines here basically to differentiate the training plan in terms of, are these guys going to be successful alone, or are they going to need some help at some point? So with that, we have a skills matrix that in order to get our training plan underway, we have to understand, well, where do folks sit in terms of their skills, right? So this you can't see, but up at the top is basically the job skills across, and then down it would be the people, and then there's going to be different quadrants of where their skills progressions lay. So you have like one box filled in would be they're in training, 2 boxes can do work with help, can do work alone, and can train others. So it's basically a skills progression. This will be filled out and will lead us to be successful in our training plan.
Good morning, I'm Wale. So we have 3 items left on our completion plan. One of them is to research and implement a process in which that customer will be able to show proof of repair for that first leak adjustment. And that will cut back from us rolling the truck back to verify. Second, I won't talk about all of them, but I also touch on the one that we're going to create research and implement a program, a robocall type of program for customers. On the day before we go to an appointment, we will call ahead of time the day before and inform customer that we're coming out the next day so that they'll be there. And learn, feel, and our core value. We learn that change is hard but doable. It's possible to have fun, tackle a difficult task and have fun doing it. Feel-wise, is the process, I feel positive that the process is going to be successful. Feel accomplished as a team. The collaborative effort amongst everyone that's here was exceptional. And I'm thankful that I was on this particular project because we have some real great people at Denver Water, and it showed throughout the project. Excellence, one-stop resolution as far core value I want to talk about. Respect for our customers, and we have passion for our customers and each other as well as our job professionally. It really showed throughout everything that we did. And we carried the ball through this thing. And honestly, if I ever have to do this again, I would love to do it with this group here because it's a Super Bowl winning type of team. Thank you so much.
I also want to give a shout out and to these folks did a tremendous job this week. It was a pleasure working with them. Also, Gene as a facilitator and Justin were tremendous, and we couldn't have got through the week without them. And I just one quick tip: if you're, I think, trying to plan out an event, I highly suggest making it the week before a 3-day weekend. So, with that, I'll take some questions. You always have questions, Pam.
So on your matrix, who's going to drive that? And are you going to probably drive that as a or the whole team?
Oh, the question is who's going to drive the skills matrix and the training plan? It will be probably me to start laying it out, but I'll be getting help from the team for sure. So.
To add a little bit more to that, Pam, from the skills matrix perspective, we're actually planning to roll that out after John gets that on its way to hopefully attack it from both sides so that we can give it to individual employees and have the employees themselves rate themselves along those grids. How do you feel you rate in each of these different categories? And also give it to their management team to then do the same thing. And the intent behind that is hopefully to have them then meet to say, where do we find the common ground? Where are we consistent?
Question. The question is a constant flow process for the call center. I don't believe our processes are going to change that much, other than the fact that we're going to try to do the call ahead, and then also just basically try to get access into the property when we can, because right now. We've seen that goes a long way in terms of being able to work with the customer and educate them. A lot of folks, and we learned this on doing some experiments this week. You know, there's a wide variety of customers' skills, so to speak. Some don't even know where their water valve shutoff is for their property. Others are very in tune to knowing, you know, where things are, how their irrigation system works, and that sort of thing. So there's a wide variety of customer knowledge. So there was a question back here. I'm going to scoot. Okay, so the question was, how do we get to the aha moment of trying to get the customer more educated? I think we're not quite there yet. We've got a long way to go in that regard. Customers own their meters and own their service lines. I don't know if organizationally customers know that specifically. I'll let the group maybe answer some of that. I think it's going to take quite a bit of effort and education. One thing that I think what Jessica alluded to was a lot of the informational materials that is going to be on our website and easy cards, like a brochure card. We took one out with us on. We took several prototypes out with us on our experiments this week, and they all said less is more. Pictures are better than words. And we really had some good materials made. So if you want to allude more to that.
And I can try and address your central question. This was a very difficult decision for our team to make. And I think we see this throughout the organization, actually. There's this tension a little bit between what are we doing with efficiency, How is that changing? Are we still a conservation-centric organization, that kind of thing? There's changes organizationally that are happening. The efficiency plan and so many things that are going on. So there was that tension within the room, and where we landed with going through 3 zones and then trying to teach the customer how to get that information themselves, I think it was just a place we all at one point just felt comfortable that let's test it and see what happens. What we're giving up there, I don't want to say that there's not a cost to that, to not going through all of the zones with our customers. The cost to that is that what we used to provide to them was a bunch of information about where their water was going, and they're not going to get that information from us anymore. If they want to, they have to be motivated enough to go and figure that out for themselves. So anybody who's done a lean event knows that there's this tension that happens. And I think this was a difficult decision for the team. I think where we landed ultimately was just where we felt comfortable moving forward and testing and just seeing if we can impact it in that way. Does that answer your question? Okay. Do you guys feel that's right? Okay.
Yeah, so also with that, on the point of our concierge level water audit service that we were providing before, a small subset of ratepayers were benefiting for a free service that a majority of ratepayers would not really benefit from. So, and that was taking quite a bit of time and resources and logistically really hard to manage. So what we want to do now is sort of spread the wealth a little bit so we can get in front of more customers with more folks, have our guys educated from a more universal sense, and then we can have more touch points with the customer. Other questions? Yes.
So you said we're going to get like the CSF we'll call the customer. How will we as a call center see that? Is it like the FA? Will it be the CSF?
It won't be CSF calling ahead, so I'll let Christy.
So I think if I understand your question, you're speaking to the call beforehand to let them know that we're going to be out?
No, it's the call because you guys said that we do like a new call, like an expected call from the customer service field after we do that, or no?
That's not what we're proposing. Instead, what we're proposing is much like currently we have a process where we place an automated call to a customer prior to being shut off for delinquency. We're proposing a similar type of call, obviously with a different message, to remind them that we're going to be there the next day and to hopefully drive them to be home. But we won't have a customer service field technician be the one placing the call. Instead, it'll be through our automated system. Does that answer your question? Yes, Maya? No, you're so good, Diana. So just to repeat your question, is that call going to be placed for all field activities occurring, or will it just be for a few particular? I think our plan right now is to test the robocall with particularly water audits and very likely check for constant flow and see how that works out. Is it actually an effective, and do we gain something by doing so? And then I think we can consider it for other type of work. We were not that precise, but probably, yes. That's my guess. Yes. Thank you.
And others that have been on event or other events, I mean, you know that you come up with solutions and try things out, or you have experiments during the week and you try things out. After some time, you may find that something isn't quite jiving with what you had originally thought. So it's going to be a little bit of iterative process and working through things. So just keep that in mind. All right, thank you, everybody.